Arthur POV, the Eastern Province is a breath of fresh air compared to the other places I've been in the Morningstar Kingdom. Here in the Green Forest, it's like someone plucked Hobbiton straight out of my imagination and planted it right here in our realm. The rolling hills, the lush greenery, it's perfect for bringing the Shire to life. I've sunk a small fortune into this place already. $50,000 to a company in Grass City to build our hobbit houses. Most are just facades, all exterior, no interior, but Bilbo's place is the real deal, inside and out. It's got to be perfect, after all, it's where our story begins. Getting the permits was a whole adventure in itself. Had to schmooze the Lord of Grass City, convince him that letting a bunch of demons play make-believe in his forest was a good idea. But money talks, and $100,000 later, we're the proud owners of 100,000 square meters of prime Hobbiton real estate. $1,000 per square meter. It's enough to make even a demon's wallet weep. But I couldn't care less about the cost. This isn't just an expense, it's an investment. Sure, I could have just rented the land, but where's the vision in that? If Lord of the Rings takes off like I think it will, this place could become a goldmine. Just look at what happened with the Demonfather locations, tourists flocking in, eager to walk in Michael Corleone's footsteps. Imagine what they'll do for a chance to step into the Shire. Point 2. It's been 5 days since we started building Hobbiton in the Green Forest. I've been busy overseeing filming locations across the kingdom. I've decided on the Shadow Plains in the Dark Province, bordering Ashen Plains, for Mordor. It fits the bill perfectly. Gloomstone Forest is pulling double duty. The shallow parts match Fangorn, while the deeper sections work well for Mirkwood. I've struck a deal with the trolls to help with some scenes later. Their tree manipulation skills will be useful. As for the primal orcs in the deep forest, that's been trickier. They seem to hate us demons especially. I've heard their chiefs and elders can speak common tongue, but I haven't made contact yet. I'll need to get stronger before I try reasoning with them. From what I've gathered, these orcs aren't as unreasonable as I first thought. They don't attack people randomly, instead hunting forest wildlife like goblins, boars, and monkeys for food. It's interesting, even the animals here can use magic. That makes hunting challenging for the orcs. There's still a lot to figure out, but we're making progress. One step at a time. An hour later, the construction crew chief calls me over. Mr. Morningstar, Bilbo's house is ready. Curiosity gets the better of me, and I head straight there. Stepping inside, I can't help but grin. It's like my drawings have come to life. Sure, it's missing some accessories, but the bones are there. We're really doing this. Outside, I gather the team. Alright, I say, trying to keep the excitement out of my voice. Tomorrow morning, we start filming. Get some rest tonight, it's going to be a busy day. A chorus of understood, boss rings out. Their faces are all business. Good. We'll need that focus. I glance over at our cast. Jeremy, our Bilbo, is chatting with some of the other half-human, half-dwarf actors we've roped in as extras. In the corner, Kurt Vault, our Frodo, stands quietly, taking it all in. Kid looks nervous, but he's got the right look. He'll do fine. Then there's Gerald Matthew, our Gandalf, watching everything with those piercing eyes of his. I've got to hand it to him, for a human from Empirica, he's been surprisingly cool about working with a bunch of demons. No condescension, just professionalism. I can respect that. I check my watch. Time to head back to the capital and grab some last-minute supplies. I make my way to the small hobbit house we won't be using for filming. From the outside, it looks just like the others, quaint, unassuming. Perfect for hiding a secret. Inside, it's bare. No frills, no accessories. Just an empty space and a well-concealed trapdoor. Only a handful of people know about this place, and they're not allowed in without me. Can't be too careful. I crouch down, running my hand along the floor until I feel the slight indentation. Pressing down and sliding it to the left, I hear a soft click. The trapdoor pops open, revealing a ladder descending into darkness. As I climb down, my weight on the ladder triggers the mechanism, and the door above me slides shut. Wouldn't want any curious actors or nosy crew members stumbling upon this. The hidden room is cool and quiet. In the center sits the inactive portal, waiting. I pull out the stone, whisper the activation phrase, and watch as the air shimmers and warps. One step, a moment of disorientation, and I'm in the studio's hidden room. Just like that, from the Shire to the city in the blink of an eye. Welcome back, boss. I turned to see George hunched over our computer project table, tinkering away as usual. Is our new colored camera ready? I ask, cutting straight to the chase. George's face lights up like a kid on Hellmoss morning. Ready? It's more than ready. Those babies are several times better than our first camera. With the budget you gave me, I've improved everything: color, handling, lenses, stands, the works. Where are they? We start filming tomorrow, I remind him. Wait here, George says, practically bouncing with excitement as he disappears into the other room. He returns, a camera balanced precariously between his shoulders. I wince. Careful with that, I warn. I know, he grumbles, gently setting it down. But he's not done. George keeps shuttling back and forth, bringing out camera after camera, along with stands and what looks like enough equipment to film 3 movies simultaneously. I can't help but chuckle. You really outdid yourself, huh? George beams with pride. I even have backup lenses in case anything breaks, he says, patting a nearby case. And get this, using your blueprint for increasing the aspect ratio, I've managed to push these cameras to a 2.40:1 ratio. The lenses are crafted with a precise curvature that allows for a wider field of view without distortion. George holds up a roll of film, his eyes gleaming with pride. I've also successfully applied that idea from your blueprint. Like in the computer, I put a memory in the camera, though it couldn't compare to our computer. You were able to do it? I ask, genuinely surprised. I knew George was good, but this is beyond my expectations. He nods enthusiastically. Yes. This memory can help correct color and other issues as we're filming. It's not perfect, we'll still need to edit afterwards, but it gives us a much better starting point. I can't help but smile, patting him on the shoulder. Good work, George. With the tech update out of the way, I shift gears. What's the news around here while I've been gone? I ask, leaning against the workbench. Staying informed is crucial, you never know when a bit of news might come in handy. George snaps out of his tech talk trance, blinking as if remembering where he is. Oh right, news. Actually. He rummages through the clutter on his desk, fishing out a newspaper. You might want to see this. I take the paper, and there I am, staring back at myself as Michael Corleone. The headline screams, Exiled Prince Arthur's Hellfire Studios embarks on biggest film project in world history. Millions already spent. Can lightning strike twice after the Demonfather? I can't help but smirk. Well, they're not wrong about the biggest part. But they're a bit late to the party, aren't they? George nods, then hands me another paper. There's more. This one's from closer to home. Lord Antry of Grass City reveals, Exiled Prince purchases 100,000 SQM in Green Forest for mystery film project. Huh, I mutter, shaking my head. Looks like Lord Antry couldn't keep our little deal to himself. Can't say I'm surprised. I skim through the articles, my mind already racing with potential implications. The cat's out of the bag now, for better or worse. Arthur POV, with the camera safely delivered to Green Forest, we're on the brink of starting filming. As director, I've got to be on top of everything. But this time, I'm pulling double duty. I'm not just behind the camera, I'm in front of it too. Yeah. Just like with the Demonfather, where I played Michael Corleone, I'm taking on a role in The Lord of the Rings. Aragorn, to be precise. I've been prepping like crazy for this. Even dipped into the skills shop and snagged some entry-level acting skills for a cool 10,000 points. It's basic stuff, but combined with my own take on the character, it should do the trick. At least, that's what I'm telling myself. Later that day, I swing by the studio to check on things. I'm looking for Imcrag, our golem, and holy hellfire, I almost don't recognize him. In just a week, he's completely transformed. His once bushy afro is now thin and stringy, just like Gollum's. And his body? It's like he's shrunk and stretched at the same time, all sinewy muscle and bulging eyes. Those potions really did a number on him. Imcrag, I call out, and the crew turns, surprised to see me. Lilith pipes up, you're back, boss? I nod, not bothering to explain my comings and goings. My eyes are fixed on Imcrag. It's uncanny how much he looks like the golem in my mind's eye. You've really embraced the role, Imcrag, I say, impressed despite myself. That's some serious dedication. Imcrag looks down, seemingly embarrassed by the praise. I'm honored that you like it, your high dash, he catches himself. I mean, boss. I make a mental note to check on his health. Those potions might be effective, but they're not exactly gentle. Still, seeing Imcrag's transformation, I can't help but feel a surge of excitement. If this is the level of commitment we're working with, this film is going to be something truly special. After wrapping up my chat with Imcrag about his health, I turn to Lilith. How's the cast doing? Everyone settled in okay? Lilith nods, a hint of pride in her voice. Yes, boss. We've got everyone comfortable, especially Ms. Evergreen and Mr. Darkflame. Great. Where are they now? In the rehearsal room, Lilith replies. I make my way down the corridor, lost in thought. The walls are plastered with the Demonfather posters, Don Vito's steely gaze, Michael's calculating stare. A smile tugs at my lips. This film changed everything for us. Without it, we'd still be crammed in that tiny warehouse, dreaming big on a shoestring budget. As I push open the rehearsal room door, all eyes turn to me. There's a shift in the air, a mix of excitement and nerves. Furful gives me a warm smile, already used to my antics from our previous work. Rupert, too, seems at ease. The others look like they've seen a ghost. I wave casually, trying to break the tension. Don't mind me, just popping in. I make my way over to Furful, unable to resist a bit of playful charm. My lady, I say with a grin, taking her hand and giving her ring a quick peck. How's life treating you post-Demonfather? Furful laughs, a sound that never fails to lighten the mood. Oh, you know, the usual chaos. Though I must say, this new gentlemanly act is quite the surprise. What happened to the scruffy director I used to know? I chuckle, shaking my head. Just showing my appreciation. It means a lot that you chose this project over all those fancy human productions. Well, Furful says with a twinkle in her eye, someone has to keep you on your toes, don't they? Rupert chimes in, his voice carrying a hint of reverence. It's an honor to be part of Prince Arthur's project. I turn to him, unable to suppress a chuckle. Well, Rupert. Looks like someone's learned the fine art of flattery. Furful giggles, and I catch a faint blush creeping up Rupert's cheeks. It's not just flattery, Rupert insists, straightening up. This project of yours, it's ambitious. Groundbreaking, even. I can't help but smile at his earnestness. Funny, isn't it? You turned down Sunny because you thought the project wouldn't amount to much. Look how that turned out. I lean in, adding with a playful wink, you're not trying to jinx us by singing praises now, are you? Rupert's blush deepens. Rejecting Sunny was my mistake, I admit that. He pauses, his expression growing serious. But I'm not jinxing anything. I genuinely believe in this project, Arthur. Even if the media tries to tear it down, I'm behind it 100%. I reach out, giving his shoulder a friendly pat. Just focus on nailing your part, Rupert. That's all I ask. He nods, a determined glint in his eye. Of course. I've been living and breathing Boromir. I think I can do him justice. That's what I like to hear, I say, feeling a surge of excitement for what's to come. With this level of dedication from the cast, we might just pull off something spectacular. I turn to Furful, curiosity piqued. And you, my lady? How are you finding your role? Furful's smile is warm, but there's a glint of something in her eye. I'm doing well, thank you. Though I am curious about something. She pauses, her gaze sharpening. Arwen, my character, is Aragorn's love interest. Who, may I ask, will be playing Aragorn? I can't help the mischievous grin that spreads across my face as I point to myself, saying nothing. Rupert's eyes widen. You're playing Aragorn? I nod, watching their reactions. Furful doesn't seem surprised, but her lips quirk up in amusement. I'm starting to notice a pattern here, Arthur. Oh? What pattern? I ask, feigning innocence. You as Aragorn, me as his lover, Arwen, she says, her tone playful but with an undercurrent of something else. Doesn't this feel familiar? Rupert chimes in, realization dawning on his face. Now that you mention it, weren't you two lovers in the Demonfather as well? Furful nods, her gaze never leaving mine. Indeed we were. And now, here we are again. Be honest with me, Arthur. Are there any underlying motives I should know about? She raises an eyebrow, her expression a mix of amusement and genuine curiosity. I feel a flush creeping up my neck. What? No, it's just a coincidence, I say, perhaps a bit too quickly. Rupert, sensing the tension, starts backing away. I think I know what you're up to, Your Highness, he says with a knowing smirk. But I'll leave you two to it. And with that, he's gone, leaving me alone with Furful. I watch him go, suddenly very aware of Furful's presence beside me. What's he talking about? I mutter, more to myself than anyone else. Furful's laugh is soft, but it fills the space between us. Oh, Arthur, she says, her voice tinged with amusement. For someone so clever, you can be quite oblivious sometimes. I turn back to her, feeling oddly vulnerable. I have no idea what you mean, I say, but even I can hear the uncertainty in my voice. Arthur POV, the makeshift studio buzzes with nervous energy as we prepare for our first scene. I scan the set, taking in every detail. The crew scurries about, making last-minute adjustments, while the cast runs through their lines one final time. My eyes land on Shaffle, our Galadriel. She's chatting with Furful, they seem to be getting along well. I have to admit, while Furful will always hold a special place in my heart, Shaffle has a certain ethereal quality that's perfect for Galadriel. It's not just about beauty, it's about presence, and Shaffle has it in spades. Taking a deep breath, I clap my hands, drawing everyone's attention. Alright, folks, this is it. We're about to start rolling. Everyone to your places. The chatter dies down as the 3 elven actors, Shaffle and 2 male elves whose names escape me at the moment, take their positions. I make my way to the director's chair, feeling the weight of expectation settle on my shoulders. Quiet on set, I call out, my voice steady, despite the butterflies in my stomach. And, action. The scene springs to life. Our elven actors slip on their rings with practiced grace, their expressions shifting to one of wonder. The camera zooms in on Shaffle, capturing every nuance of her fascination. I nod to Elizabeth, our resident wind mage. Cast the wind spell. A gentle breeze sweeps across the set, making the actors' hair dance. But suddenly, cough. Jason, one of our male elves, chokes on the unexpectedly strong gust. Cut. I call out, unable to hold back a chuckle. The set erupts in laughter, the tension breaking like a dam. As we reset for another take, Jason approaches me, worry etched on his face. I messed up. Will I be replaced? I shake my head, still grinning. No, no. It's not your fault. I turn to our overzealous wind mage. Elizabeth, try dialing it back a notch, yeah? Yes, boss, she nods, looking slightly sheepish. Jason still seems on edge, so I give his shoulder a reassuring pat. Hey, don't sweat it. If you're worried about wasted film, don't be. We'll use it for bloopers. Bloopers? Jason echoes, confusion replacing worry. Yeah, you know, funny outtakes. Trust me, the audience loves that stuff. I flash him a conspiratorial wink. Now, let's nail the scene, shall we? As everyone retakes their positions, I can't help but feel a surge of affection for this ragtag bunch. We might not be the most polished crew in the business, but damn if we don't have heart. Alright, people. Take 2. And, action. The first scene wraps quickly, just a few seconds of the elves gazing at their rings in wonder, Shaffle's golden hair dancing in the magical breeze. It's short, but powerful. I can already envision how it'll set the tone for the entire film. We move on, scene by scene, each one a piece of the puzzle that will become our epic tale. The furnace where the rings are forged glows with an otherworldly light, casting long shadows across the set. Next up are the dwarves. 7 of them, decked out in intricate costumes that would make any dwarf lord proud. They cradle their rings, their eyes gleaming with a mix of awe and greed that sends a shiver down my spine. It's perfect. The human kings follow, 6 noble figures succumbing to the allure of power. Then come the demons, our stand-ins for the 9 mortal men. For their scene, I've gone all out with the set design. Flames lick at the edges of the frame, shadows dance ominously. It's deliciously over the top, and I love every second of it. Hours fly by as we shoot and reshoot, perfecting each moment. By the time we wrap, I'm exhausted but exhilarated. We're making progress. There's just one piece missing, Sauron forging the One Ring in Mount Doom. but that can wait. The armor will make Sauron easy enough to cast, but first, we need our army of orcs. As I wrap up for the day, my mind's already racing ahead. Casting orcs in a world where they actually exist. I've got to admit, it's a fascinating challenge. But fascinating doesn't mean easy. A few days back, I bit the bullet and spent a whopping 200,000 entertainment points on a powerful spell called the Nether Surge. It's some seriously dark magic that boosts mana and magical power. Now my entertainment points are practically on life support. Even with the Demonfather still raking in cash 170 million and counting, a record breaker if I do say so myself, the influx of points has slowed to a trickle. I'm down to about 10,000 points. It's still growing, sure, but nowhere near the flood it was before. Was it worth it? I'd like to think so. I've been holed up in the training area, practicing this new spell until I'm blue in the face. It's all for the orcs, though. From what I know, they only respect raw power. So that's exactly what I'm going to give them. The plan is simple: walk into orc territory, flex some magical muscle, and hope they're impressed enough to willingly join my little film project. Filming's never a walk in the park, but we're managing. It's funny how a few seconds on screen can eat up hours of our lives. But that's the magic of cinema, I suppose. With the interior scenes wrapped, it's time to head back to Green Forest. I don't need to drag the whole studio team along, I've got another crew camped out there, ready and waiting. It's a bit extravagant, having 2 full teams, but hey, that's what those millions in the bank are for, right? I step through the portal, and bam, I'm back in Green Forest. The crew there jumps like they've been caught with their hands in the cookie jar. Guess they were enjoying the downtime a bit too much. "Boss, you're here already, welcome back," one of them stammers, trying to look busy. I can't help but chuckle. Alright, guys, vacation's over. Time to earn your keep. Morning breaks over our makeshift shire, and we dive right into Gandalf's arrival. The old wizard's meeting with Frodo is pivotal, setting the stage for everything to come. Watching Kurt bring Frodo to life is something else. Sure, he flubs a line here and there, and we have to reshoot a few times, but there's an authenticity to his performance that gives me goosebumps. The kid's a natural, no two ways about it. As night falls, the set transforms into a bustle of activity. It's Bilbo's 11th birthday, and we're pulling out all the stops. The air crackles with excitement and magic. See, fireworks in this world aren't just gunpowder and pretty colors. They're imbued with honest-to-goodness spells, capable of conjuring fantastical displays that would make even the most jaded pyrotechnician weep with joy. It's costing us a small fortune, but the authenticity it brings to the scene is priceless. People here will see these magical fireworks and instantly connect. It's not just special effects, it's a slice of their reality, elevated to cinematic proportions. But I couldn't resist adding a touch from my past life. Working with our wizard department, we've crafted a special firework. It's a dragon, just like in the original film, brought to life with a complex cocktail of illusion spells and other magical trickery I can barely wrap my head around. The scrolls for this particular firework cost more than some people's yearly salary, but as I watch it soar over our shire set, scattering hobbits, well, our half-human half-dwarf actors, in its wake, I know it's worth every penny. This, right here, is the magic of movie making. It's taking the familiar and making it extraordinary. As I call cut, on another take, I can't help but grin. We're not just making a movie, we're creating a whole new world. Arthur POV, the sky above our set explodes with color, each firework more dazzling than the last. Even from here, I can see the awe on the faces of the folks from Grass City. It's a spectacle alright, one that's drawing a bit too much attention for comfort. Demon folk start creeping onto our set, their curiosity getting the better of them. It's wreaking havoc on our carefully crafted scenes. Keep them back, I call out to my team. We can't afford to lose these shots. My crew springs into action, forming a human, well, demon barrier. But these onlookers are persistent buggers. Watching Clara, one of my crew, get knocked over by an overeager fiend demon, something in me snaps. Time to bring out the big guns. I activate the Nether Surge, feeling dark energy crackle around me. The air grows heavy, thick with power. Even I'm a bit taken aback by the intensity. The fiend demon who pushed Clara freezes, his eyes going wide with fear. He's not the only one, I can see the terror rippling through the crowd, even my own team looks shaken. Go away, I say, my voice unnaturally calm. Point 2, it's like I flipped a switch. The crowd parts, demons scurrying away like they've seen, well, something scarier than themselves. As the set clears, I let the power ebb away. Damn, that spell packs a punch. Mental note, maybe tone it down a notch next time. Don't want to give the crew nightmares. But as I help Clara to her feet, I can't help but think, if this is how demons react, how will the orcs handle it? Guess I'll find out soon enough. For now, though, we've got a party to film. Alright, I call out, clapping my hands. Back to work. The fireworks resume, painting the night sky with bursts of color and magic. From my vantage point, I can hear snippets of conversation from the now subdued Grass City crowd. Did you see that? I never expected the weak prince to have such intimidating power, one voice whispers. Another chimes in, maybe we're just imagining it. It's probably because we've seen the Demonfather. We're confusing him with Michael. You're right, a third agrees. It must be Michael we're scared of, not the prince. That's the only explanation that makes sense. I can't help but chuckle to myself. They've written off the Nether Surge as some sort of collective hallucination. Fine by me, less explaining to do. With the distractions gone, we power through the rest of the night's shoot. It's grueling work, but seeing Bilbo's party come to life makes it all worth it. As we finally wrap up, exhaustion hits me like a ton of bricks. My crew and I trudge to our tents, dead on our feet but satisfied with a night's work well done. Don't forget the protection spell, I remind them, stifling a yawn. Last thing we need is a pack of hellhounds crashing our beauty sleep. One of the crew members nods sleepily. On it, boss. No hounds are getting past us tonight. Hellhounds roam the green forest in packs, their glowing eyes piercing through the mist. But they're not the only creatures to watch out for. The thunder bears stand tall among the trees, their massive forms crackling with electric energy. One swipe of their paws can send bolts of lightning through an unsuspecting traveler. The forest floor crawls with luminous slimes, gelatinous beings that pulse with an eerie, internal light. Shadow cats prowl the darker areas, their fur absorbing light and making them nearly invisible in the gloom. High in the canopy, sprite monkeys chatter and leap from branch to branch, trailing sparks of magical energy in their wake. And in the deepest parts of the forest, ancient crystal tortoises lumber about, their shells encrusted with valuable, magical gems. Thoughts of forest creatures fade as exhaustion takes over. I'm out like a light the moment my head hits the pillow. We've wrapped Bilbo's party and Gandalf's ominous warning to Frodo. Not bad for a night's work. Tomorrow's another beast entirely. We're tackling the Black Riders chasing Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin. It's going to be intense. Morning comes too soon. The set's buzzing as we prep for the Black Riders scene. I give our Nazgul a once-over, impressed by the armor my art team's cooked up. It's menacing as hell, perfect. How's it feel in there? I ask one of the extras, eyeing the hefty getup. Manageable, sir, comes the muffled reply. Fair enough. I turn to the crew, clapping my hands to get their attention. All right, people. Places. We're rolling in 5. The set falls silent as everyone takes their positions. I feel my expression harden, slipping into what the crew jokingly calls my director mode. Ready when you are, boss, my AD calls out. With a final glance around the set, I give the nod. And, action. It's been over a few weeks since we started filming, and we've made decent progress. We've captured Frodo's escape and Gandalf's return to Isengard. The Isengard scenes, now those were a challenge and a half. I've sank $30,000 into building the exterior of Orthanc, Saruman's imposing tower. It's just a facade, mind you, all show and no substance. We erected it near our Shire set, taking advantage of the 100,000 square meters we've got in Green Forest. It's far enough not to ruin the Shire's quaint vibe, but close enough to be convenient. We have a model of Isengard for the sweeping shots, so capturing the city's vantage point won't be a problem. The tower itself is real enough, but everything beyond is smoke and mirrors, or in this case, magical projections and clever camera work. It's not perfect, but it's selling the illusion well enough. The interior scenes with Saruman and Gandalf's magical duel were easier to pull off. Having actual wizards for actors has its perks, they can sling real spells. Of course, we've amped things up for dramatic effect. Can't have our wizards duel looking like a schoolyard scuffle, after all. It's a constant juggling act, balancing realism with spectacle. But seeing it all come together on film, it's worth every headache and every dollar spent. Though it's becoming clear that bringing Lord of the Rings to life is a whole different beast compared to the Demonfather. Sure, having actual magic at our disposal helps, but it's a double-edged sword. The illusions we're using are burning through our budget faster than a dragon through a village. And while real magic makes fight scenes more authentic, it's also raising the bar for what looks convincing. It's a constant battle to make things look spectacular enough for a fantasy epic, but still believable in a world where magic is commonplace. Take Saruman and Gandalf's confrontation. In my old world, Saruman's telekinesis was mind-blowing. Here? It's Tuesday. I had to completely reimagine the scene, amping up the magical duel to something that would actually impress our audience. The result is intense, maybe even more so than the original, but getting there nearly broke my brain. This obsession with authenticity is slowing us down considerably. We're weeks into filming and barely halfway through. If we had CGI, we'd be flying through scenes. But everything's practical effects here. It's painstaking work, but the results, well, they speak for themselves. Today's a big day, though. It's finally time for my debut as Aragorn. As I suit up, I can't help but feel a mix of excitement and nerves. It's one thing to direct a fantasy epic. It's another to star in it. Here's hoping I can pull it off, without making a complete fool of myself. Arthur POV, we've taken over a tavern in Horn Village, just outside Grass City, rebranding it as the Prancing Pony for our shoot. The air's thick with anticipation as we prep for the ring scene. Remember, the ring needs to levitate just enough to land on Kurt's finger, I remind the effects team. It's got to look accidental, but deliberate. You know what I mean? Machi, one of the crew members I rehired, nods confidently. We've got the trajectory down pat, boss. It'll slip onto Kurt's finger like it's got a mind of its own. I can't help but feel a bit glad. Bringing these grads back was a smart move. Their mix of magical know-how and technical skills is proving invaluable. Good. We're shooting this in slow motion, so you'll need to control Kurt's fall too. Make it look dramatic. Got it, boss, the team choruses. As everyone takes their positions, I feel myself slipping into character. The acting skills from the system skills shop are kicking in, but there's something else too. Playing Aragorn, it's hitting close to home. An exiled prince, carrying the weight of a legacy he's not sure he wants. The parallels aren't lost on me. I draw on my own experiences, the feeling of being an outsider in my own family, the struggle to prove myself. But there's also a determination there, a resolve to forge my own path. As I settle into Aragorn's skin, I feel a strange mix of vulnerability and strength. Ready when you are, boss, my AD calls. I take a deep breath, centering myself. Action. At my signal, the set springs to life. The extras settle into their roles, while the actual tavern regulars just, well, continue being themselves. Sometimes, reality is the best acting coach. I hunker down in my corner, deliberately making myself stand out by trying not to. It's a delicate balance, being conspicuously inconspicuous. This version of Aragorn is a bit different from the original. He's half demon, half human, still heir to Isildur, but with an added layer of complexity. The Dúnedain, his people, aren't exactly rolling out the red carpet for him. It's a wrinkle that adds some spice to the character. Kurt, in his role as Frodo, catches sight of me. He does a decent job of looking unnerved by the demon in the corner. As he leans in to question the waiter about me, I fix my gaze on him. In that moment, I'm not seeing Kurt the actor anymore. I'm Aragorn, sizing up Frodo, the unexpected bearer of the One Ring. There's a weight to this interaction that goes beyond the script. It's the meeting of two outcasts, each carrying a burden they never asked for. Kurt POV, being on the receiving end of Arthur's intense stare, is more unnerving than I'd anticipated. It's not just acting anymore, I'm genuinely intimidated. There's something in his eyes that reminds me of Michael Corleone right before all hell breaks loose. It's chilling. I fidget with the ring, trying to look nervous, which, honestly, isn't much of a stretch right now. Then I hear Sam, played by Rory, call out Frodo Baggins, just like we rehearsed. That's my cue. I scramble to my feet, aiming for a hasty retreat. As I weave through the crowd of extras and actual tavern patrons, I prepare for the fall. This is the tricky part. Suddenly, I feel the subtle tug of magic. Machi and the effects team are working their spells, making my fall look natural while keeping me from actually face-planting. It's a strange sensation, like I'm moving through molasses. The ring floats alongside me, seemingly defying gravity. As my hand stretches out, the ring slips onto my finger with eerie precision. The moment it's on, the magical support vanishes, and I hit the floor with a convincing thud. In an instant, the illusion spell kicks in, and to everyone else, I vanished into thin air. It's a surreal experience, being invisible yet fully present. Cut. Arthur's voice breaks the spell, so to speak. As I pick myself up, I can't help but feel a mix of relief and excitement. I pulled it off in just one shot. Arthur helps me to my feet, a hint of surprise in his voice. Not bad, Kurt. Didn't expect you to nail it in one take. Thanks, boss, I manage, feeling a mix of pride and relief. But the moment's short-lived. Arthur's next words send a chill down my spine. For the next scene, I need you to amp up the fear. Think you can handle that? I hesitate. Being more scared? It sounds simple, but terror isn't exactly my forte. I'll do my best, I promise, not feeling particularly confident. We start rolling again, and I try my hardest to look terrified as I slip off the ring. But something's off. Cut. Arthur's voice rings out. He approaches, shaking his head. You looked more scared when I was staring you down earlier. What happened? I swallow hard. Well, to be honest, I was actually scared of you back then. Arthur sighs, running a hand through his hair. Okay, new tactic. Imagine I'm still staring at you while you take off the ring. Can you do that? We try again. And again. And again. But it's not working. How am I supposed to be terrified of a simple gold band? After the fifth take, Arthur's expression changes. Alright, I've got an idea to help you out. Before I can ask what he means, we're rolling again. I brace myself, trying to summon some fear for the camera. Suddenly, a wave of terror washes over me. It's visceral, primal, like every nightmare I've ever had rolled into one. My eyes widen, my breath catches in my throat. With trembling hands, I yank the ring off my finger. As quickly as it came, the feeling fades. I'm left gasping, confused and shaken. What just happened? Arthur POV, it worked like a charm. Watching Kurt yank off the ring, his face a mask of genuine terror, I can't help but chuckle to myself. The Nether Surge spell did its job beautifully, even if this wasn't its primary function. The spell's main purpose is to amplify magical power and mana, but its side effect of instilling fear in others is proving quite useful. All it took was a few muttered words, directing the spell's energy towards Kurt, and boom, instant terror, picture perfect for the camera. During the review, the crew and cast are falling over themselves, praising Kurt's acting. I don't bother correcting them. Sometimes, what they don't know won't hurt them. As we wrap up the scene where Aragorn reprimands Frodo, Kurt approaches me, his face a mix of confusion and suspicion. Boss, I felt terrified earlier, he says, eyeing the prop ring warily. Did this thing do something? I plaster on a reassuring smile, patting his shoulder. Don't worry about it. Let's focus on the next scene, shall we? But I can see it in his eyes, he's not buying it. That look screams, I know you know something. Well, can't be helped. As long as we get the shots we need, a little mystery won't hurt anyone. Besides, what's a fantasy epic without some real magic behind the scenes? Arthur POV, the past few days have been intense. The scenes with Kurt Aragorn protecting Frodo from the Black Riders, the fight sequences, they've been challenging, but seeing the footage, it's been worth every drop of sweat. Yesterday, we wrapped the scenes of Aragorn and the hobbits making their way towards Rivendell, with Frodo barely hanging on. Today, it's Furfyl's big debut as Arwen. The effects team's working overtime to amp up Furfyl's natural charm for the camera. Not that she needs much help in that department. When we get to Arwen's reunion with Aragorn, I decide to dial up the intimacy. Let me handle this, Furfyl says, her hand finding mine with a tenderness that feels all too real. I meet her gaze, letting Aragorn's centuries of longing seep into my expression. With a nod towards Kurt, I murmur, he's yours. Furfyl smiles, and before she can react, I lean in and plant a quick kiss on her lips. Go, I whisper. Point 1. The surprise in Furfle's eyes is genuine, but she doesn't miss a beat. She nods, then mounts her horse, Kurt in tow, and gallops off. Cut. I call out, fighting to keep the grin off my face. That little improvisation should add some nice spice to the scene. Next up, we've got the Black Riders chasing Arwen. As the crew resets, I catch Furfle giving me a look that says we'll be having words later. But there's a hint of a smile there too. This scene's going to be a challenge to film, but after that last take, I'm feeling pretty good about our chances. After hours of grueling work, we finally wrapped the chase scene. Now it's time to tackle Rivendell. The set's just been completed in a secluded part of Green Forest, another chunk of land I've acquired for the project. Most of the elven architecture is just for show, facades propped up against the forest backdrop. We've filled in the gaps with magical illusions, creating a seamless blend of practical effects and arcane trickery. As I review the footage, I can't help but feel a swell of pride. It's not CGI, but somehow, it looks even better than what I remember from my past life. There's a tangibility to it, a sense of wonder that feels truly magical. The ethereal glow of the buildings, the way the light dances through the illusory trees, it's breathtaking. And the best part? It's real. Well, as real as anything gets in this world of magic and monsters. Looking at the playback, I can already imagine how audiences will react. This isn't just a movie set, it's a doorway to another world. And we're the ones who built it. Changing the topic, today's shoot was interesting. The Council of Elrond scene is pivotal, and most of the cast nailed it. George, though? Let's just say his Gimli leaves something to be desired. But hey, Gimli's supposed to be a bit rough around the edges, so maybe George's lack of finesse is actually a stroke of genius. After a few takes and some not-so-subtle coaching, we managed to get it in the can. With filming wrapped for the day, I decided to sneak back to the capital. There's been something nagging at the back of my mind, Harry Potter. It should have hit the shelves about a week ago, and I'm itching to see how it's doing. I throw on a hood before heading out. Being recognized as Michael from the Demonfather would throw a wrench in my plans. Instead of heading straight to Hellfire Studios, they think I'm off filming in the boonies. I make my way to one of the bookstores I bought to distribute our publications. As I push open the door, the bell chimes and the receptionist greets me with a cheerful, "Welcome." I nod back, making a beeline for the shelves. My eyes scan the spines, looking for that telltale title. I scan the fantasy section, my eyes darting from spine to spine. Nothing. I double-check, triple-check, but the result's the same. No Harry Potter in sight. Weird, I mutter, stroking my chin. It should be out by now. What gives? A knot forms in my stomach. Did something go wrong with the publication? As I'm lost in thought, the demoness at the reception desk pipes up. Having trouble finding something, mister? I turn, nodding. Yeah, actually. I'm looking for a book called Harry Potter. Harry Potter, she echoes, and for a moment, my heart sinks. But then she continues, "Oh, you're out of luck today. That one sold out a few hours ago." Sold out? I repeat, not quite believing my ears. She nods enthusiastically. It's become insanely popular. Book lovers all over the city are clamoring for it. Before she can finish, the door chimes and another demon bursts in. "Book lady. Any restock on Harry Potter yet?" The receptionist shakes her head. "Not until tomorrow, I'm afraid." The newcomer groans. "I've been waiting since yesterday." As the receptionist and the new customer chat about restocking, my mind races. Out of stock? This isn't just good news, it's fantastic. Harry Potter didn't just make it to publication, it's flying off the shelves. A smile tugs at my lips as I slip out of the store, unnoticed in the commotion. The book's popularity seems to have spread by word of mouth. I didn't focus much on marketing, too wrapped up in the Lord of the Rings production. But somehow, it's found its audience anyway. As I walk down the street, my grin widens. This is just the beginning. If the first book is this successful without a major push, imagine what we could do with a proper marketing campaign for the sequels. In my past life, I knew Harry Potter was a phenomenon. But to see it happening again, in this world, with my own hands, it's something else entirely. I make a mental note to check in with Hellfire Studios soon. We need to ramp up production, maybe even start planning for book 2. Grigori POV, move it, you lazy demons. We don't have time to slack off. I bellow at my workers as we churn out copy after copy of Harry Potter. It's been days of this madness, and I'm about ready to tear my horns out. When we first released the book, I didn't think much of it. Relax, I told my team. We don't need to bust our tails for the exiled prince's little pet project. It'll never catch on. Oh, how wrong I was. First day? A trickle of sales. Second day? A bit better, but nothing to write home about. I was feeling pretty smug about my prediction. Then the third day hit. Hundreds of copies, flying off the shelves. I chalked it up to a fluke, a lucky break. But the fourth day? Thousands. And it just kept climbing from there. Now we can't keep the damn thing in stock, and I'm cracking the whip to keep up with demand. Just as we're hitting our stride, Marba from distribution bursts in, demanding more copies. Can't you see we're working our tails off here? I snap, stress making my voice crack. As Marba slinks out, I can't help but wonder, what's the deal with this book? Is it really that good? Or has the whole city gone mad? One thing's for sure, I never thought I'd be losing sleep over some human boy wizard. Thanks a lot, Your Ex-Highness. As I'm about to get back to overseeing the printing, another interruption comes in the form of a messenger from Hellfire Studios headquarters. Mr. Grigori, the young demon pants, clearly out of breath. I've got urgent news from the main office. I barely suppress a groan. What now? We're already working at full capacity here. The messenger swallows hard. They want to double the print run. Effective immediately. For a moment, I'm sure I've misheard. Double? Are they out of their minds? But the messenger just nods, looking as bewildered as I feel. They say pre-orders for the next shipment are through the roof. We need to meet demand or we'll lose sales to copycats. I slump against the nearest printing press, my mind reeling. Double the output? With what resources? What staff? But then a thought hits me. If demand is this high, if we're doubling production, that means our profit shares will skyrocket too. Suddenly, I'm filled with a new energy. I straighten up, clapping my hands to get everyone's attention. Listen up, you ink-stained imps. We've got a new target. Double production, starting now. Anyone who can't keep up can kiss their bonus goodbye. Comment. Arthur POV, after weeks of filming scenes that didn't involve orcs, I've finally decided it's time to face them head-on. I've been testing my powers with Nether Surge in private, and if I'm gauging this right based on the ancient power scales, I should be at Arcane Scholar level. That's enough juice to take on 100 Arcane students or a dozen junior mages. The catch? I can only maintain Nether Surge for a limited time. Sure, practice will extend that limit and boost its power, but it's still a finite resource. Without it, I'm barely scraping by at junior mage peak tier. It's a sobering thought. I'm about to walk into orc territory with power that's impressive by modern standards, but would have been considered entry-level back in the day. Still, it's what I've got to work with. Truth is, power levels aren't what they used to be. The old power level terminology is practically ancient history now. With billions of people in the world, mana spread thin, like butter scraped over too much bread. These days, an average person can't even hit junior mage level, let alone reach arcane scholar status. It's the upper crust nobles, royals, and the kids of big-shot politicians and business tycoons in non-royal countries who get to play with the big leagues. They've got access to those rare potions that cost more than most families make in a year. It's no wonder the Demonfather struck such a chord. We're living in a world that's slowly leaving the magical age behind, focusing more on martial arts and military tech. Dwarven weapons are the new hot ticket. Even the high-end stuff can tear through an arcane scholar's shield like it's tissue paper. In a world where a good gun trumps most magic, those old power levels don't mean much anymore. It's a brave new world out there, and the rules of the game have changed. Before confronting the orcs, I made a quick trip back to the city via portal. First stop, the weapon shop. With my newly acquired sword skills, courtesy of the skills shop, I needed a blade to match. I also picked up some decent armor, no point in being a walking target. Back in Gloomstone Forest, I suit up. Decked out in gleaming armor, sword at my hip, face hidden behind a mask and hood, I feel like I've stepped straight out of a fantasy novel. Strolling into the nearby town, I make my way to the Adventurers Guild. As I push open the doors, I catch snippets of conversation. Get a load of that armor. Must be some rich kid playing hero. Yeah, only nobles or big-shot business heirs can afford gear like that. I stifle a chuckle. If only they knew. But I'm not here just to show off. No. I need a crew, fellow adventurers to back me up in orc territory. Sure, I could probably take on a decent number of orcs with nether surge, but why tempt fate? Better to have backup and not need it than need it and not have it. Plus, there are practical considerations. Someone's got to carry supplies, and it wouldn't hurt to have extra hands for hauling back monster parts to sell to the guild. A little side hustle never hurt anyone, right? Having a few adventurers along means I can conserve my energy for when it really counts. The deep parts of Gloomstone Forest are no joke, we're talking miles of potentially hostile territory. I'll need to be at full strength when we finally encounter the orcs, which means pacing myself on the journey there. As I scan the guild hall, I'm looking for a mix of skills. Maybe a tracker who knows the forest, a brawny type for heavy lifting, and someone with healing abilities wouldn't go amiss. It's like casting for a film, really each role needs to bring something unique to the table. I approach the guildmaster, keeping my voice low and mysterious. I'm looking for capable adventurers for a dangerous mission into the deep forest. Any recommendations? The guildmaster eyes me skeptically, probably trying to gauge if I'm some rich kid with a death wish or the real deal. After a moment, he nods towards a corner of the room. Those three over there might be what you're looking for. They're experienced, and they work well together. But I warn you, stranger, they don't come cheap. I smile behind my mask. Money's the least of my worries. I approach the trio the guildmaster pointed out. There's a young man in worn armor, clearly a warrior type. Next to him, a hulking brute in mage robes, an interesting combo. The third is a young woman in ordinary-looking clothes, though I can sense the magical enhancements woven into the fabric. What's your deal, rich boy? The warrior calls out as I near their table. No point in beating around the bush. I'm in the market for some capable adventurers. The brute chimes in, what for, mate? Lookin' to play explorer? Maybe he wants a guided tour, the woman adds with a smirk. They share a laugh at my expense. Fine by me, let them underestimate me. Actually, yeah. A tour sounds about right, I say, playing along. You lot familiar with Gloomstone Forest? The brute's brow furrows. Gloomstone Forest? That's right. I need to get to the deeper parts. Looking for a guide who knows their way around. The woman chuckles. The deeper parts? What, are rich kids so bored these days? Yeah, must have a death wish, the warrior adds. I cut through their laughter with 6 simple words, I'll pay well for the right skills. That shuts them up quick. They exchange glances, suddenly all business. Now that I've got your attention, I continue, let's talk specifics. What can you bring to the table? After some back and forth, I've got my team sorted. There's Gordon, the young warrior with a chip on his shoulder. Charles is our brute mage, built like a tank but with a knack for spellcasting. Marjorie rounds out the trio, a chatty young woman with healing talents. Marjorie's non-stop chatter reveals she's an orphan from a Solaris church. Her healing skills are top-notch, so I hire her on the spot. Charles, besides his magical prowess, is built like an ox. He's perfect for hauling our food supplies. Gordon, it turns out, used to hunt in Gloomstone Forest for a living. His knowledge of the terrain could be invaluable. With our role set, we head out for orc territory. Our first encounter is with a group of goblins. I hang back, letting my hired hands prove their worth. They handle it well enough without my intervention. Later, we face off against a pack of hellhounds. This time, the adventurers struggle. Seeing them clearly out of their depth and knowing they've been looking down on me, I decide to show my hand. Their surprised faces when they see what I'm capable of are almost comical. 2 days and nights into our journey, and we're still not in orc territory. I had no idea it would be this far. Even with our tree-leaping shortcut, we're still a considerable distance away. The next day, we finally spot signs of orc territory. Gordon turns to me, his face grim. We're here. These orcs are no joke. You sure you want to go through with this? We're crouched behind a bush, eyeing the orc tribe in the distance. I can feel the tension radiating from my companions. Of course, I reply, flashing a smile. No point turning back now. We've come too far. Marjorie pipes up, curiosity getting the better of her. Why do you even need to mess with orcs anyway? I chuckle, keeping my cards close to my chest. It's none of your business. She rolls her eyes. Ugh. You rich kids always do whatever you want when you're bored. Heh, is all I offer in response. Charles, ever the pragmatist, chimes in. We'll be ready whenever you are. I shake my head. No. You guys stay put here. Take care of the supplies. I'll face the orcs alone, are you serious? Marjorie gasps, then quickly covers her mouth, realizing how loud she was. Dead serious, I confirm. Before they can protest further, I leap from our hiding spot, facing down about a dozen orcs. I can hear Marjorie trying to stop me, but Gordon holds her back. As I land, I can't help but admire the orcs. Hey, really perfect for my film, I mutter, taking in their appearance. They're exactly what I need for Lord of the Rings. One orc, not appreciating my scrutiny, charges with an angry yuga. I activate Nether Surge, easily parrying his attack and kicking him away. Time to show these orcs and my skeptical companions what I'm really made of. Marjorie POV, he's a crazy rich guy, but he seems quite powerful. I can't help but exclaim, watching the rich kid take on the orcs single-handedly. Gordon nods, impressed despite himself. I gotta admit, he is very skilled. Yeah. I even felt a spooky aura around him, Charles adds. He must be using a high-quality dark spell. That stuff doesn't come cheap. Gordon scoffs, a hint of bitterness in his voice. Well, I guess it's to be expected that he's powerful. His family probably spoon-fed him quality potions and hired tutors to teach him those fancy spells. I'm so fucking jealous. As I watch the fight unfold, I have to agree. For a rich kid, being powerful isn't exactly a challenge. But there's something off about his movements. He's skilled, sure, but there's a rawness to his fighting style. It's like he's still getting used to his own power. Arthur POV, damn, these orcs are tougher than I expected. I'm doing my best to parry their attacks without killing them. After all, I need them alive for casting. I dodge a punch, then deliver an uppercut that sends an orc crumpling to the ground. 10 minutes of intense fighting later, I'm surrounded by unconscious orcs sporting various bruises and black eyes. Panting slightly, I call out to my hired help. Hey, come here. We need to tie them up and look for more orcs. As the adventurers emerge from the bushes and start binding the orcs, Gordon pipes up. Why didn't you just kill these orcs anyway? I fix him with a stern look. I need them alive. That's all you need to know. Don't ask too many questions. As we work, I can't help but feel a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. One step closer to my orc army, but at what cost? My muscles ache, and I'm pretty sure I'll be feeling this fight for days. The things I do for cinema, hours after capturing the orcs, I'm still trying to communicate with them. They just stare at me blankly, and I'm starting to feel like an idiot. Marjorie, ever helpful, chimes in. They can't speak common tongue, you should know that. I roll my eyes. Of course I know. I'm just trying. Gordon starts to explain, they're not high-level orcs. Maybe only the orc chief. Suddenly, one of the tied-up orcs interrupts. We understand common tongue, you fools. The silence that follows is deafening. We all exchange shocked glances, before I burst into giggles, pointing at the vocal orc. So you can talk, huh? The orc nods, looking slightly annoyed. Gordon, clearly feeling insulted, snaps, so you guys could talk all along and pretended not to? Another orc pipes up, we're used to our own language. But we've been learning common tongue for years. It's the only way our tribe can stay ahead of the others. Now my curiosity is piqued. Ahead of other tribes? How so? The orcs nod, and a third one explains, it gives us an edge. We can understand what demons and other races are saying about us. Makes trading easier, too. Sometimes we overhear useful information about unguarded caravans or weaknesses in town defenses. And when adventurers come looking for a fight, we know their plans before they even reach our territory. I can't help but be impressed. These orcs are smarter than I gave them credit for. This could change everything, not just for my film, but for how I approach this whole situation. Well, I say, a grin spreading across my face, looks like we have a lot to talk about. The orcs eye me warily, a mix of fear and curiosity in their gazes. Can't blame them, really. I did just hand them their green behinds. The burly one, clearly the leader, speaks up. What do you want with us? Why capture us alive? There must be a reason. I can't help but chuckle. Take me to your tribe. I want to have a chat with them. A shorter orc bristles, anger overriding his fear. We'll not lead you to our tribe. We don't know what you're planning. Poku. Shut it, the leader snaps, before turning back to me. What do you want with our tribe? To capture them too? I laugh, understanding their distress. They've seen what I can do. They know their whole tribe wouldn't stand a chance. Don't worry. I'm not here to hurt anyone, I reassure them. I just have a request. And you'll be rewarded for it. The leader's interest is piqued, but Poku isn't having it. He spits out something in Orcish that I'm pretty sure translates to "Don't believe this cunning demon's lies." He's deceitful. The leader ignores him, focusing on me. What request? Here goes nothing. I launch into my pitch about the film, explaining concepts they've clearly never heard of. Their confused expressions would be comical if I weren't so nervous about their response. As I talk, I notice my hired adventurers gaping at me. They look utterly baffled, probably thinking I've lost my mind for inviting orcs to be in a film. The burly orc scratches his head. This film. It's like a story? But one people can see? I nod eagerly. Correct. And I want your tribe to be part of it. You'll be paid, fed, and treated well. Plus, you'll be famous. The orcs exchange glances, a mix of confusion and intrigue on their faces. It's not every day a demon offers orcs a job in show business, after all. The leader seems to be mulling it over. And you swear no harm will come to our tribe? On my honor, I say solemnly, hoping they can't see the crossed fingers behind my back. Hey, a little white lie never hurt anyone, right? The orc leader eyes me for a long moment before nodding. All right. I'll lead you to our tribe. Great, I say, unable to hide my grin. The other orcs start grumbling, clearly not on board with this plan. Their leader barks something in Orcish, and they fall silent immediately. Now that I'm taking you to our tribe, the leader says, turning back to me, may we know who you are? Oops. I'd forgotten I was still masked. I pull it off and extend my hand. I'm Arthur Morningstar, by the way. The reaction is immediate. Eyes widen all around orcs and adventurers alike. You're a Morningstar? The orc leader gasps, fear creeping into his voice. Marjorie and the others look equally shocked. He's the infamous prince. I try to diffuse the tension with a chuckle. Hey, now. Let's not get too excited. And you are? I ask the orc leader, trying to steer the conversation back on track. Still visibly shaken, he responds, I am Aguga. Son of the chief of our tribe. Perfect, I nod. That makes things easier. You can talk to your dad about my project, get your tribesmen on board. Aguga falls silent, clearly reconsidering now that he knows my identity. Marjorie, meanwhile, can barely contain her excitement. You're including orcs in your next project, Your Highness? I just watched the Demonfather. It was amazing. Gordon and Charles chime in, equally starstruck. I have to calm them down before turning back to Aguga. You don't have to worry, Aguga. I'm a legit filmmaker, I assure him. Aguga eyes me warily before exchanging glances with his fellow orcs. All right, he finally says. Let's hope you don't go back on your word, demon. I can't help but chuckle. Don't worry. I'm a demon of my word. With that, I untie the orcs. Aguga and his companions, still hesitant, lead me and my adventurers towards their village. As we approach, I can see the tribe in the distance. They're on edge, eyeing us suspiciously. Aguga steps forward, speaking to them in rapid Orcish. After a tense moment, they let us in. The village is like stepping back in time. It's primitive, almost Stone Age in its setup. My eyes are drawn to a group of chained elephants. A pang of pity hits me, maybe I can do something about that once I've talked to the chief. Speaking of which, the chief appears, an elephant by his side. He's an imposing figure, all muscle and authority. What's a group of demons doing in my village, he demands, his voice a low growl. I straighten up, putting on my best diplomatic face. This is it time to sell my crazy idea to an orc chief. Chief, I begin, hoping my voice sounds steadier than I feel. I have a proposition for you and your tribe. One that could change everything. Ogu POV, I eye the demon in his fancy armor, then turn to my son instead of addressing him directly. Oguga, what's the meaning of this? I demand in a low voice. Oguga leans in close, whispering urgently, Father, this demon is from the Morningstar family. My eyes widen. What's royalty doing here? I hiss back. Oguga quickly explains about some film project and how this Arthur wants to hire our tribesmen. It's a lot to take in, but I've learned to listen before judging. Turning back to the royal demon, I ask cautiously, what kind of film do you need us for? I've seen a film once, stole it, actually. So I'm curious about what this demon has in mind. Arthur POV, seeing the chief's expression soften, I realize Oguga must have smoothed things over. Good man, orc. The details can wait, I say, trying to sound confident. What you need to know is that you won't regret this proposal. The chief eyes me skeptically. What will we get from working for you? You know dollars? I ask. He nods. Yeah, of course. It's the global currency. You're offering that? I nod back. If your tribesmen do well, I'll pay you $10,000. If not, you'll still get 1,000. What do you think? The reaction is immediate. The chief and orc's eyes widen in shock. Even Marjorie, Gordon, and Charles look stunned by my offer. I hold my breath, waiting for the chief's response. This is it, the moment of truth. Will he take the bait? The silence stretches on, and I resist the urge to fidget. Come on, chief. $10,000 for a bit of acting. It's the deal of a lifetime. I'm Ogu, the chief finally says, breaking the tense silence. Let's discuss your offer further in my hut. I can't help but grin. This is progress. All right, I nod, following him inside. As we enter, my eyes are drawn once again to the chained elephants. A plan starts forming in my mind. Ogu, are your elephants for sale? Ogu eyes me suspiciously. Why? I want to buy them. Name your price, I say, trying to sound casual. My plan is to free them, or maybe even take them with me. Elephants are incredibly intelligent creatures, and seeing them in chains doesn't sit right with me. They're priceless to us, Ogu explains. They help with many things, like scaring rival tribes. I press on, trying to reason with him. Come on. Besides that, what can those elephants do? They must consume a lot of your tribe's resources, right? Ogu considers this, nodding slowly. True, they do eat a lot of our fruit. But besides that, they're okay. He pauses, then seems to come to a decision. I'll sell you my elephant for $10. Or if you want all of my elephants, it'll be 100. Deal, I say instantly, barely able to contain my excitement. I quickly pull out my wallet, paying Ogu on the spot. His surprised expression is priceless as he scrutinizes the money, checking if it's real. An orc chief playing amateur bank teller, now there's something you don't see every day. After carefully counting the cash, Ogu nods. All right. Those elephants are yours now. He pockets the money, all business now. Let's get right to it. Ogu POV, what a fool. This demon actually bought my elephants for such a pittance. Truthfully, losing those beasts means little. I can always order the tribe to capture more from the vast forest. But business is business, so I turn my attention to the matter at hand. Your roles in my film are simple, Arthur explains. You'll be an army of orcs working for the villain. So, we're the bad guys? I clarify. Arthur nods. Yes. But being bad in the film doesn't matter. What matters is that it proves orcs can cooperate to make a film. He leans in, his eyes intense. Think about it. When people see that orcs can act, maybe other studios will start casting you. Maybe orcs won't be looked down on by other races anymore. His words strike a chord. This demon isn't just offering us a job, he's offering a chance to change how the world sees us. All right. I agree to your proposal, I say, newfound respect in my voice. When do we begin? Now, Arthur says without hesitation. Ready your orcs. We'll head to the filming location. A flicker of doubt crosses my mind. You're not trapping us, are you? Arthur snorts. As an orc chief, you must have felt my power, right? A shiver runs down my spine as I sense the aura emanating from him. There's no doubt he's a morning star, through and through. Arthur POV, mission accomplished. I've secured the orcs for my film, and as a bonus, I've got myself some elephants. The moment the chains come off, the elephants trumpet joyously. I can't help but chuckle as I approach the largest one, giving it a pat. To my surprise, it gently caresses me with its trunk. Looks like I've made some new friends. I'd planned to set them free, but these gentle giants seem to have other ideas. They follow me like oversized, gray puppies. Guess I'm an elephant owner now. Add that to the list of things I never thought I'd say. 2 days later, I return to the shallow parts of Gloomstone Forest. The looks on my team's faces when they see me roll up with a herd of orcs and elephants? Priceless. But there's no time to bask in their shock. We've got work to do. I've had my team prepare several large buses to transport the orcs to the Green Forest for their scenes with Saruman. The elephants, sadly, will have to stay behind with my Gloomstone team. They seem genuinely sad to see me go. Who knew elephants could do puppy dog eyes? As we board the buses for the 18-mile journey to Green Forest, which should take us about a few hours, traffic permitting, I can't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. Looking out the window as we pull away, I see the elephants waving their trunks in farewell. I make a mental note to visit them once filming wraps up. After all, what kind of demon would I be if I neglected my new pachyderm pals? As the buses rumble down the road, I settle in for the ride. Next stop, Green Forest. Time to turn these orcs into stars. When we pull up to the Shire set in Green Forest, my team's jaws practically hit the ground. I step out of the bus, a horde of orcs trailing behind me like some bizarre parade. George's eyes are as wide as saucers. You've actually managed to get orcs, he sputters, disbelief etched on his face. Mara, one of our crew members, eyes the orcs warily. Are they dangerous, boss? I can't help but chuckle. Don't worry. They won't bite. I pause for effect, then add, in fact, they can speak common tongue. Despite my reassurances, it's clear the team is on edge. Can't blame them, really. It's not every day you see a bunch of orcs milling about a hobbit village. As we start filming, though, something interesting happens. The orcs, under my direction, prove to be surprisingly cooperative. They take direction well, hit their marks, and even ad-lib a few lines that aren't half bad. Gradually, I notice the tension in my crew's shoulders start to ease. By lunchtime, I even spot Mara sharing her sandwich with one of the younger orcs. Arthur POV, it's been a few days since I brought the orcs on board, and I've got to say, they're exceeding expectations. Even the team and cast seem impressed by their acting chops. Yugo, Aguga, and the others have really thrown themselves into their roles. Right now, I can hear them chatting with some of the cast about the script. Aguga's booming voice carries across the set. Sauron is a very powerful lord, yet he was defeated in one slash. Gerald Matthew, our Gandalf, patiently explains, because he was exhausted when he fought with Elendil and Gil-galad. Aguga nods, then asks, who played Sauron? Is it the boss Arthur? Hearing my name, I wander over to join the conversation. No one's played Sauron yet. We haven't filmed the flashback fight scenes, because we were short on orc actors. I look at Aguga and the others, grinning. But now that you guys are here, we're about to change that. Aguga's eyes light up. Oh. Can I play Sauron? He asks eagerly. I chuckle at his enthusiasm, but before I can reply, Yugo cuts in. No, Aguga. I'll play Sauron. I match his height and appearance better. Aguga's face falls, and we all share a laugh. Well, looks like you're out of luck, Aguga, I say, patting him on the shoulder. You should just be satisfied with your role. Aguga sighs dramatically. But father already took the role of playing Lurtz, Saruman's chief Uruk-hai. I burst out laughing. Well, your father really matches the looks of the characters I had in mind. Aguga just sighs again, the picture of dejection. After spending some more time with the cast, we dive back into filming. A few more days fly by in a blur of takes and retakes. Then, out of the blue, George pulls me aside with news that sends a jolt of energy through my tired bones. The arena we've been converting into a full-on studio is finally complete. Suddenly, I'm wide awake, despite the exhaustion of daily filming. I clap my hands, calling for everyone's attention. Guys, listen up. We're going to continue filming the overall scenes at the studio that's just been completed. We're heading back to the capital today. The cast looks confused, this is the first they're hearing of it. But my crew? They erupt into cheers. No more roughing it in the wild. No more battling the elements. We're going back to civilization, baby. Pack it up, people. I shout, unable to keep the grin off my face. We're taking this show on the road. As everyone scrambles to gather their things, I can't help but feel a surge of excitement. A real studio, with all the bells and whistles. This is it. This is where The Lord of the Rings is really going to come to life. After a day's journey, we're back in the heart of civilization. The city sprawls before us, a stark contrast to the wild forests we've called home for weeks. I missed the air here in the city, one of the crew members says, his voice thick with emotion. You'd think he'd been exiled for years instead of a few weeks of filming. Aguga, ever the contrarian, wrinkles his nose. The air is not fresh at all, he grumbles, not bothering to hide his disdain. The other orcs, though, are wide-eyed with wonder. So this is the city, they murmur, taking in the sights, sounds, and smells of urban demon life. Some even look a bit misty-eyed. It's probably their first time seeing anything like this. As we make our way down the street, the locals can't help but stare. Whispers follow in our wake, what are orcs doing here? Are they attacking? Should we run? Maybe it's some kind of parade? Look at their weird clothes. Is this some new fashion trend? An elderly demon clutches her purse tighter as we pass. In my day, orcs knew their place far away from decent folk. A group of young demons, on the other hand, seemed thrilled. Whoa, cool. Real orcs. Can we get a picture? I can't help but chuckle. If not for the orc civilian clothes and the hefty bribe I paid the city guards, bringing a horde of orcs into the city would have landed me in some serious hot water. As we chat, we finally reach our destination, the former arena-turned-studio. Whoa. This building is massive, the orcs gasp in unison, craning their necks to take in the structure. Let's go in, I say, unable to contain my excitement. As we step inside, I'm struck dumb. The place has been completely transformed. The spacious arena with its rows of seating is gone, replaced by a marvel of magical engineering. Illusion artifacts line the walls, their soft glow hinting at the power contained within. Intricate runes cover the floor and walls, pulsing with energy. These aren't just for show, they're designed to physically move and reshape the environment to match the projected illusions. It's like a real-life CGI setup. The illusions serve as our green screen, while the magically manipulated walls and ground provide the tangible elements to sell the effect. It's Hollywood magic meets actual magic. As we enter further, the demon operators greet us. Boss, this is the studio built to your specifications, one says proudly. Another chimes in, a hint of awe in his voice, this studio alone cost us millions of dollars. I nod, taking it all in. You demons did great, I say, my mind already racing with the possibilities this place offers. Turning to the orcs and the rest of the crew, I can't help but grin. Welcome to the future of filmmaking. Turning to the orcs and the rest of the crew, I can't help but grin. Welcome to the future of filmmaking. Their eyes widen in wonder, and Hugo's voice trembles as he speaks. Did I hear that right? This place cost millions of dollars? I chuckle, gesturing around. What do you think? Aguga's jaw drops. Royal family must be so rich. I'm about to respond when Machi, one of my crew members, jumps in. No. Boss Arthur's money isn't from the royal family. He earned it all himself. Easy there, Machi, I say, patting him on the shoulder. They're new to civilization, let alone the Demonfather box office numbers. Machi's face flushes with embarrassment. Oh, right. I turn back to the orcs, who look thoroughly confused. Let's just say I made a little film that did pretty well. This studio? It's just the beginning. Hugo scratches his head. A film that makes millions? Now that I'd like to see. Stick around, I say with a wink. You might just end up in the sequel. I turn to Gerald and the others, suddenly realizing that Furful and some of the cast and crew are still probably back in Green Forest. As if on cue, George enters the studio, with Furful, Imcrag, Kurt, and the rest trailing behind him. Their jaws drop as they take in the place. Furful's eyes sparkle with wonder. I feel like I've traveled back to the ancient times. Oh? I raise an eyebrow. You've been living since ancient times? She laughs, a musical sound that echoes through the studio. You think I'm some ancient elf that lives for thousands of years? Oh, I mumble, feeling a bit foolish. Furful's still chuckling as she explains, it's just that this place, filled with runes and magical artifacts, reminds me of pictures and paintings I've seen of the ancient world. Like the ancient dungeons? I offer, trying to save face. Yes, exactly, she nods, her smile warm. I can't help but grin back. Well, if we're going for ancient dungeon chic, I'd say we nailed it. Though hopefully with fewer traps and more craft services. Furful laughs again, and I feel a flutter in my chest that has nothing to do with the magical energy surrounding us. I quickly turn to address the rest of the group, hoping no one noticed my momentary distraction. Alright, we'll film the rest of the scenes in this studio, I announce, and predictably, the orcs have questions. Gugu, one of the elder orcs, frowns. We'll be filming in this place? It doesn't match the backdrop for the scenes at all. I can't help but chuckle. Well, you're in for a surprise. I gesture to the demon operators, who approach eagerly. I hand them the architectural drawings of Mount Doom, carefully sketched from various important angles. With a nod, they set to work. The operators begin their spell, directing it towards the drawings. The papers dissolve into glowing ash, absorbed by the illusion artifacts lining the walls. Suddenly, the world around us shifts. The orcs' jaws drop in unison. Even my team and Furful, who knew about the illusion effects, gasp in astonishment. The bare studio transforms into the hellish landscape of Mount Doom. The ground beneath our feet trembles and shifts, causing everyone to stumble as if caught in an earthquake. When the rumbling subsides, we're standing at the base of a towering volcano, complete with rivers of molten lava. Anual. Agga breathes, his eyes wide as saucers. Furful reaches out tentatively, her fingers brushing against a nearby rock formation. It feels real, she marvels. I can't keep the grin off my face. Welcome to Mount Doom. Pretty impressive for a dungeon, eh? Arthur POV, while everyone's gawking at the Hellfire Studios handiwork, one of the demon operators pulls me aside. Boss, maintaining this state is costly. We should start filming or shut it down. Right. Can't forget the bottom line. Got it, I nod, then turn to the crew. Alright, people. Let's get moving. We're burning daylight and magic cores here. The team snaps to attention, and we dive into the Mordor scenes. Yugo, decked out in Sauron's armor, looks like he's about to topple over. But he's a trooper, and we make good progress. Days fly by, and I've got to admit, this VFX studio is a game changer. We're saving a ton on logistics and effort. But my wallet's feeling the pinch. An hour of illusion backdrop sets me back $100. It's like watching money evaporate. We're burning through C-grade magic cores like they're going out of style. $100 a pop, and they barely last an hour. I'm on the hunt for B-grade cores, they'd give us 5 solid hours for $300. A better deal, but they're as rare as a friendly Balrog these days. Between takes, I've been checking on Harry Potter sales. The book's doing well, flying off shelves. It's not exactly a phenomenon yet, but there's a growing fanbase. They're all curious about this mysterious JK who penned it. If they only knew it was the infamous prince behind it all. Harry Potter has brought in about 20 grand so far. It's no Demonfather blockbuster, but for a new book, it's nothing to sneeze at. For context, the Kingdom's bestseller, Primal Evil, some pulpy tale about Satan's evil offspring, rakes in $500K annually. But even that didn't hit $20K in sales when it first dropped. The critics are buzzing, calling Harry Potter the next big thing. Not bad for a side project. Weeks have flown by, and we're in the home stretch of filming. But we've hit a snag with the Balrog and dragon scenes. My fancy VFX studio can morph the backdrop, sure, but it can't conjure up a moving, breathing creature. The ground and walls just can't mimic the intricacies of a body in motion. But I'm not one to back down from a challenge. After some tinkering and consulting with illusion experts, we've stumbled onto something interesting. Turns out, we can draw runes and cast illusion spells on animals. We tested it on one of the elephants. Drew some runes, muttered a few incantations, and presto, we've got ourselves a pretty convincing monster. It's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than trying to wrangle an actual dragon. As I watch our transformed elephant lumber around, looking decidedly more menacing than usual, I can't help but grin. Klein speaks up, his tone measured. Boss, we've been training this elephant for weeks now. I'd say he's become decent at acting. Decent? George scoffs. An animal that can act isn't something you see every day. The elephant's a great actor, if you ask me. I nod, considering their points. George has a point. But Ron still needs work to nail the Balrog role. He's close, though. Ron, the elephant I've been training to play Balrog, trumpets softly as if in agreement. We've burned through a small fortune in magic cores for his training, but if he pulls this off, it'll be worth every penny. Meanwhile, our wind parrot has been surprising us all with its dragon performance. Its talent for imitation is proving invaluable. I glance at the latest report from Gloomstone Forest. The trolls we hired to control the ancient trees for our Ent scenes just wrapped yesterday. Another piece of the puzzle falling into place. Alright, I say, turning back to the team. Let's run through Ron's scene one more time. And someone make sure he doesn't snack on the set this time. As December draws to a close, we've finally wrapped filming on Lord of the Rings. It's been a hell of a ride, costing us about $15 million, and that's not even counting the VFX studio. I'm saying my goodbyes to the cast when I reach Furful. I'll definitely miss your lips, I say with a grin. Furful rolls her eyes. Those kissing scenes, you're one shameless director, you know that? You didn't hate it though, right? I chuckle. She's quiet for a moment, then looks at me seriously. I've been meaning to ask, do you have feelings for me? My heart skips a beat, but I'm a demon, damn it. I don't get intimidated. What if I do? I shoot back. You're quite a beauty in my eyes. Furful's eyes widen, clearly caught off guard. Feeling bold, I press on. Would you consider a relationship with this great demon? She looks conflicted. Sorry, but I want to focus on my career right now. Oddly, I'm not disappointed. Her response leaves the door open. Oh? So you're saying there's a chance? Stop it, Furful laughs, swatting my arm. Furful, what's taking you so long? Shaffle calls from a distance. Furful glances back, then turns to me. Well, see you around. She walks off with Shaffle. I can't help but smile as I head back to the studio with my team. Lilith pipes up, sounding exhausted. Boss, are we pulling all-nighters for editing again? Not this time, I say. We've got an easier editing process ahead. Their eyes light up. So no overtime? Well, not exactly, I clarify, watching their faces fall. But don't worry. I've got an editing tool that'll speed things up. Editing tool? My team echoes, curiosity piqued as we enter the studio. I nod to George, who disappears for a moment before wheeling out our invention. The team gathers around, eyeing the contraption with a mix of confusion and interest. Is that our editing tool, boss? Someone asks, sounding skeptical. Yes, I confirm, gesturing to the film strips nearby. I prepared binary code to program the editing process. The computer will process the uploaded files, but we'll still need to manually fine-tune everything. It's not perfect, we'll need to double-check its work and make adjustments, but it should speed things up considerably. Their eyes widen as they process this information. I didn't know something like this existed, one of them mutters. I can't help but feel a hint of pride as I explain, that's because it didn't until now. George and I created this editing tool. We're the only studio with this technology. The surprise on their faces deepens. I can almost see the gears turning in their heads as they consider the implications. So, we're not out of a job, right? Zeke asks, only half joking. I laugh. Far from it. We still need your expertise to make this work. Think of it as a very clever assistant, not a replacement. As the calendar flips to 12/72, there's a palpable sense of change in the air. The new year ushers in a new era for the picture industry, with colored films becoming more and more common. It's a far cry from the black and white world we left behind. Days blur together as we hunker down in the editing room, piecing together our epic. The new tool is a godsend, but it still requires our constant attention and creativity. I'm deep in concentration, debating between two cuts of a particularly tricky scene, when there's a commotion outside. Curious, I make my way to the lobby, only to be greeted by an unexpected sight. Lucy Morningstar, my elder sister, stands there, tapping her foot impatiently. Her presence is as commanding as ever, filling the room with an almost palpable aura of authority. "You finally deigned to show up," she says, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You've made me wait long enough." I blink, momentarily thrown off balance. It's been, well, I can't even remember the last time I saw Lucy. What could possibly bring her here now? "Lucy," I manage, trying to keep my voice neutral. "This is unexpected. What brings you to our humble studio?" Her eyes narrow, and I can practically feel her gaze burning through me. "Whatever this is about, I have a feeling it's not a social call."